Article 03 Equality Canon 1423 Equality is expressed as active presence of impartiality, uniformity, calmness, decency and reasonableness in the actions and performance of duty of all who claim to represent the law. Canon 1424 The word equality is derived from the Latin equitas meaning uniformity, impartiality, fair dealing and calmness of mind. Canon 1425 Equality is the active demonstration of the golden rule by those who represent the law that all are equal under the law and subject to the law. Canon 1426 When equality ceases, law ceases. Article 04 Fairness Canon 1427 Fairness is expressed as the absence of bias, malice, vested interest, or predisposed opinions and the active presence of decency and reasonableness in the actions and performance of duty of all who claim to represent the law. Canon 1428 The word fairness originates from ancient Gaelic word fair meaning the action of watching, guarding as well as a horizon or skyline. Canon 1429 The absence of fairness is the absence of the law. Canon 1431 Who is incapable of demonstrating fairness lacks the character and honor to be a judge. Article 05 Uniqueness Canon 1431 Uniqueness is a fundamental feature of all objects and concepts of existence whereby every object in dimension is unique by virtue of occupying unique space and every concept is unique by virtue of the unique observer and their perception. Canon 1432 While the law may be the same, every matter before it is by definition unique. Therefore, every man and woman has the right to be heard. Canon 1433 Denial and consent are demonstrations of the exercising of free will. Denial is the refusal by free will to endorse or accept an action or ritual. Consent is the acceptance by free will of the endorsement or acceptance of an action or ritual. Article 06 Dependency Canon 1434 Dependency is a fundamental requirement of existence whereby the existence and sustainment of one object is dependent on the existence of others. All objects and concepts exist within a codependent universe. Canon 1435 In accordance with natural law all members of the Homo sapiens species are dependent on sustainable coexistence to some degree. Therefore, while all members of the Homo sapiens species possess free will, the full demonstration of free will in the form of complete freedom is not possible within any type society without anarchy. Canon 1436 When applied to positive law, the law of dependency means no form may exist in reality independently from the body of law that defines it. Therefore, the foundational deed of any society does not exist as a truly independent law, even if it declares itself to be so, as the body of law which enables the form of a constitution, deed or declaration to be constructed in the first instance must have prior existence. Canon 1437 By definition of the law of dependency, all societies that used the form of law known as Western law, also Roman law, also known as common law as the form from which to create their constitutions and declarations of independence remain dependent upon this higher form of law and dependence within this framework of law, regardless of any claimed or perceived independence. Article 07 Meaning Canon 1438 Meaning is a fictional term used to define the quality of having intention or purpose. Hence the early definition of mean as having in mind a purpose. Canon 1439 All meaning is defined and subject to the seven systems and one state of being as defined by the canons of divine law preceding this canon. The seven systems are classification, symbols, semantics, elements and properties, language, axioms and mind. The one state of being is unique collective awareness. Canon 1440 All valid meanings of words shall be aggregated into the official Ucadia lexicon as a single source and reference. Canon 1441 Any meaning that is not defined and in accordance with the canons of law preceding this canon is automatically null and void from the beginning of its use. Canon 1442 When anyone references, writes or speaks of true meaning, or meaning, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 08 Gnosis Canon 1443 Gnosis is a fictional term meaning confidence in or reliance on the validity of some quality or attribute of a form based on proof, reason or logic, without the need of belief or faith. Knowledge therefore in its truest sense means the quality of possessing and displaying gnosis. Gnosis. Canon 1444 To know thyself implies not only to learn but the ability to discern what is and what is not. Thus gnosis and true knowledge has always been the enemy of deception and those who deliberately mislead. Canon 1445 As these canons of divine law and natural law are proven with proof, reason and logic alone, the true rule of law rests upon only gnosis and true knowledge, not faith or belief. Canon 1446 Any definition that attempts to connect the opposite concepts of faith or belief to gnosis or knowledge is deliberately false and misleading. In accordance with these canons, any such definition is automatically rendered null and void. Canon 1447 Any definition that attempts to imply negative connotation or defective meaning to gnosis, in favor of belief and faith are deliberately false and misleading arguments. In accordance with these canons, any such definition is automatically rendered null and void. Canon 1448 When anyone references, writes or speaks of gnosis, true knowledge or knowledge in respect of law, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 09 Belief Canon 1449 Belief is confidence in or reliance on the validity of some quality or attribute of a form based on custom and faith without proof. Belief is therefore equivalent to the concept of trust based on faith of a higher deity. Canon 1450 Belief is not the same meaning as faith, nor trust. Belief is a fictional term originally equivalent in meaning trust in God, whereas faith in its original fictional sense means duty of fulfilling one's trust in God. Belief is therefore trust in the divine that something is true, whereas faith is an obligation to believe something is true. Canon 1451 Belief is not the same meaning as gnosis or true knowledge. Belief is based on trust of a higher deity, while gnosis or true knowledge is based on trust born from proof, reason or logic. In order to strengthen certain fictional models of reality based on faith, the definition of gnosis has been abrogated and the definition of belief deliberately misconstrued. Canon 1452 As these canons of divine law, natural law and positive law incorporate the proof and existence of the divine creator in all as well as perfect gnosis, it may be correctly concluded that these canons represent perfect belief. Canon 1453 When anyone references, writes or speaks of belief, true belief or perfect belief, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 10 Trust Canon 1454 Trust is confidence in or reliance on the validity of some quality or attribute of a form being true based on custom without proof or faith. Trust is now also applied to a form of administration and conveyance of rights, obligations and relationships. Canon 1455 Trust does not have the same meaning as faith. Trust is a fictional term that does not inherently imply the need of proof nor faith for confidence in something being true, whereas faith in its original fictional sense means duty of fulfilling one's trust in God. In order to strengthen certain fictional models of reality based on faith, the definition of trust has been deliberately misconstrued. Canon 1456 As these canons of divine law, natural law and positive law incorporate the proof and existence of all with and without the need of proof, it may be correctly concluded that these canons represent perfect trust. Canon 1457 When anyone references, writes or speaks of trust, true trust or perfect trust, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 11 Reality Canon 1458 Reality is a fictional model of existence constructed upon form and meaning, enabling the degree of certainty and reproducibility necessary for the operation of positive law. Neither reality nor absolute truth exist according to natural law or divine law, as the universe of unique collective awareness depends upon the existence of paradox and relativity. Canon 1459 Reality permits a functional model of existence excluding the existence of paradox and relativity. Thus within the fictional universe of reality, in accordance with all positive law, the concept of truth exists and the certainty of logic and reason may be applied. Canon 1460 Reality permits the recognition and existence of certain concepts considered valid under positive law that do not exist under natural law or divine law. Such concepts as freedom, justice and morality do not exist within natural law but are integral to the optimum function of civilized society under positive law. Canon 1461 All statutes promulgated through valid positive law in reality operate according to interpretation and not supposition. Canon 1462 All statutes promulgated through valid positive law in reality operate according to logic and fact and not paradox and relativity. Canon 1463 The valid rules for the consistent definition and operation of reality are these canons of positive law defined by Astra Maris Divini Canonum in accordance with Pactum de Singularis Caelum. Canon 1464 The definition of an alternate reality that is inconsistent with these canons of positive law defined by Astra Maris Divini Canonum is automatically null and void from the beginning. Canon 1465 A form that cannot be proven to exist in reality has no existence in law. Canon 1466 When speaking, writing or considering reality, it is in accordance with these canons of positive law defined by Astra Maris Divini Canonum and no other. Article 12 Normality Canon 1467 Normality is a fictional model of reality constructed from claimed rules and standards called norms implying moral perfection and correctness. Hence normal also means right, square, not deviating or differing from a standard. Canon 1468 The first model of normality was formed by the Roman cult, also known as the Vatican, also falsely known as Holy See, through its inferior canon law, with such canons defined as norms. Therefore, any rule or standard not agreeing with the inferior rules of the Roman cult have been branded abnormal. Canon 1469 As the claimed rules of the Roman cult do not comply to the superior standards of law as defined by these canons, it is these canons and no other that represent the norms. Therefore, it is the inferior rules of the Roman cult, also known as the Vatican, that must be regarded as abnormal. Canon 1470 When anyone references, writes or speaks of norms, normal, or normality, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 13 Morality Canon 1471 Morality is a fictional frame of reference applied to reality concerning form and meaning that distinguishes between those actions and rituals considered good, positive and right and those considered bad, negative and wrong. Canon 1472 In accordance with divine law and natural law, morality is a quality unique to positive law. Canon 1473 Civilizations throughout history share certain common attributes within their systems of morality that consider certain actions or rituals to be bad, immoral and wrong. The most significant is the murder of another member of the species. However, the differences between systems of morality vary significantly in the complete range and nature of actions or rituals considered being bad, immoral and wrong. Canon 1474 Any action or ritual considered bad, wrong and evil or right, good and correct in accordance with morality and moral law is through statutes issued under positive law and can never be claimed as divine law or natural law. Canon 1475 Any law invoking morality that claims divine law or natural law is automatically invalid and therefore null and void from the beginning. Canon 1476 As no man, woman or person may claim higher moral personality than the divine creator, and as all power and authority has been granted by the divine through Pactum de Singularis Caelum, no man, woman or person has higher moral personality than the society of one heaven. Canon 1477 Excluding the sacred seven pronouncements of Ucadia, the sacred covenant Pactum de Singularis Caelum and these canons, any claim, statute or pronouncement by any man, woman or person to have higher moral authority or moral personality than the society of one heaven is hereby null and void from the beginning, therefore having no legal validity nor existence. Canon 1478. When anyone references, writes or speaks of moral perfection, morality, or moral personality, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 14. Proof. Canon 1479. Proof is the demonstration or production of one or more facts and evidence to support an argument based on reason and logic. Proof therefore does not depend upon faith or trust. Canon 1480. As these canons of divine law, natural law and positive law comprehensively prove divine law, natural law and positive law, they stand as the highest proof of law against any other claims of inferior law. The denial of valid proof is error in law. Therefore, any denial of the superior proof of these canons is automatically an error in law. Canon 1482. Any claim that the law admits no proof against that which it presumes is false. Canon 1483. A proof will stand good until the contrary is proved. Therefore, in the absence of any challenge by valid proof equal or greater than these canons, all men, women and persons consent to these canons being the one, true and only rule of law. Canon 1484. When anyone references, writes or speaks of proof, real proof, or complete proof, it shall mean these canons and no other. Article 15. Truth. Canon 1485. Truth is a fictional concept originally meaning the quality of being steadfast in adherence to a commander, or friend, or principle, or cause, or to one's promises. Hence true means in essence to be honest, trustworthy, upright or virtuous, sincere and free from deceit. Canon 1486. As certain inferior entities throughout history have attempted to install and maintain their flawed model of reality, the meaning of truth and true has been corrupted to mean facts, exact and agreement with a standard or rule of the controlling entity, regardless of reason, argument or logic. Hence truth has become wholly divorced from consistent virtuous behavior to simply being adherence to standards and rules, regardless of whether such rules were deliberately deceitful and corrupt. Canon 1487. Given that the original and essential meaning of truth and true to be free from deceit and deception, any definitions that attempt to imply truth or true to permit adherence to corrupt standards are inferior rules that are devoid of reason and logic is automatically rendered null and void. Canon 1488. As these canons of divine law, natural law and positive law are proven with proof, reason and logic without corruption or deceit, only these canons and no other may be regarded as the truth and true. Canon 1489. The rules, writings or beliefs of any man, woman or person that claiming them to be true or the truth in contradiction to these canons of divine law, natural law and positive law is automatically null and void from the beginning. Canon 1490. When anyone references, writes or speaks of truth, true, or absolute truth, it shall mean these canons and no other.